Hello everybody and welcome back to another exciting episode of Mug&Play. I am Nick and my chair is very squeaky in case you couldn't tell. So, in case you might have noticed, I wasn't really around much last week, partially because, and here's the big thing, I was in the hospital. Now I know what you're thinking, holy shit, why are you in the hospital? And that's why I'm here today, to tell you why that was. You may have noticed in a recent video I did, well not really recent, it was from a few months ago, I did a thing called 20 Things About Me, and in that video I mentioned that I'm anemic. Anemia, and just like that. And so there's a reason for that. It wasn't because I was suffering from, you know, low blood sugar or, you know, or whatever, but I think I mentioned there that I get like tired real easily or something like that. But the reason for that is because I suffer from low blood. And I went to the doctor last week and they were like, hey, we need to do some blood work because you're unusually pale. You get no energy and you get really exhausted doing simple tasks, and that's usually a not so good sign. So they did some blood work and I got a call later that day and my doctor was like, it's a good thing you came in because your hemoglobin level is very low. Some may call it life-threateningly low. So let's call it that. And my doctor was like, you need to go to the emergency room and you need to get a blood transfusion or two. And so I was like, okay. So I went in thinking it was gonna hopefully be just an in and out thing where it's just like, hey, give me blood. I'll have it. And then I leave. Not so simple. So they checked my hemoglobin level and it was a 5. Normal adult man's supposed to be between like 13.5 and 15. That was 5. Anything below 8 is pretty serious. So I got a blood transfusion, and then I got another blood transfusion, and then they were like, all right, we'll take you up to your room now. And I'm like, oh, I'm not leaving. And they're like, no. We have to look inside your stomach to see if you have an ulcer because you said you did, and we need to see if that's probably causing all these problems if you not having any blood, because the ulcer, it's taking it and then you're just digesting it and pooping it out and you don't realize it, and you're doing that more quickly than you can make more blood. So they put me up to my room and I had to be hooked up to an IV all night, and they're like, all right, in the morning you're gonna have a throat scope. I don't know the full word for it because it's incredibly long. I'll put it right here. That's a long word. By the way, they told me I was not allowed to have any food as of midnight, and I'm like, well shit, I haven't eaten since 11 a.m. So at this point I'm in my room, it's almost midnight and I've had no food for 11 hours or 13 hours at this point, and that was only the beginning. So I waited around till morning, around noon. It has now been 25 hours since I have eaten last, so I'm a little cranky. And they're like, all right, let's take a look at in your belly. So they wheel me down there, and here's a funny story. I wasn't really all that nervous having a camera shoved down my throat because I knew that they were going to give me some anesthesia, but I didn't start getting nervous until they were in the room and they're like, all right, and they explained everything. They're like, let's get this party started, let's get this show on the road, let's other idioms for let's do a thing. They put the breathy strip like over my nose, like this thing. It's not this, but it looks like this, and they wire it over. They wire it over me, and at this point I'm starting to get like a little nervous. I'm like, okay, everything's gonna be fine. They're like, we need to breathe through your nose. I'm like, okay, just so you know, when I come out of anesthetic I can be kind of grumpy. And they're like, okay, huh? And then they put a thing in my mouth that was meant to hold my jaw open so they could, you know, put the scope down there. And I had this thing in my mouth and I'm like, far away. And the doctor was just like, okay, just stop talking. And that's the last thing I remember. And I was in dreamland with Kirby. I was hanging out. It was cool. The next thing I know, I am awake and on my feet back up in my hospital bedroom, and I'm like, okay, all right, I don't know how I got here. And you know, there was just too many people in there. Like, my dad had come to visit, and Stephanie was there, and a nurse was in there, and I had to go to the bathroom, and the nurse is trying to be like, I'll help you with that, and I'm just like, the fuck you will. And I'm pretty sure I did say something to that effect. Like I said, I was very cranky coming out of the anesthetic, and my dad thought it was funny, and meanwhile, Stephanie's trying to, like, listen to the doctor over the phone of what's going on. I'm able to go to the bathroom unassisted, and I didn't fall down, and I could hear my dad outside the bathroom just be like, if he falls, we'll pick him up. Whatever, it's fine. So, that was pretty funny. And so I get done with that, and I lay in bed, and I'm just kind of in and out of consciousness. I remember being, again, kind of, like I said, kind of grouchy, because at this point it's now like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I am now at like hour 28 with no food, and I want to go home because I spent the night at the hospital. And the nurses are like, "Is there anything else we can get for you?" And I'm just like, "Unless you can tell me I can eat or I can leave, then I'm not interested." And apparently that was the nicest I was gonna be. So they're like, okay, fine. Stephanie's just like, could we have an extra pillow, please? Thank you. That would be wonderful, thank you. And she was being nice for both of us. And I'm just like kind of conking in and out. Eventually, I wake up, and I'm awake enough to understand what's going on. And basically, inside my belly, they found an ulcer. Yes, just like I suspected, they found an ulcer. However, and here's the twist, what else they found was what the ulcer was growing on, and the ulcer was growing on a benign tumor. That's right, I had a paintball-sized, it was very small and benign tumor in my belly, and it was growing, and the ulcer was growing on that. So it looked, when they showed me the photos, it looked like one of those malice eyes from Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and that was pretty cool. And one of those going in my belly. So the doctors saw that when they had the throat scope down there, and they just cauterized the living shit out of it. That's right, they literally killed it with fire, much like the saying, kill it with fire. So they were still like, you still can't eat anything, and so I was just kind of like stuck in the hospital bed, and they're like, we just want to keep you overnight for observation. Also, you need a 3rd and 4th blood transfusion. So they gave me those. Well, they gave me the 3rd one that night, and then in the middle of the night, I was just lying there, and I couldn't go to the bathroom unassisted. Like, I needed somebody to like hold my IV pole outside the bathroom and like hold the wires, and you know, I couldn't do that without having to wake somebody up. Everyone else is allowed to eat, everyone else is allowed to walk freely, everyone else is allowed to go outside. I'm not allowed to do any of that shit. I was awake at like 3 a.m. just like staring at the wall clock, because like I can't watch TV because I didn't want to wake up Stephanie, and my phone battery was low, so I couldn't do anything on there, and I couldn't watch any videos because I didn't have headphones. Again, I didn't want to wake up Stephanie because she has been, you know, just an absolute delight through the whole thing and making sure I was taken care of, and I didn't want to wake her up when she finally got to sleep because she was worried. And just fucking just lying there and just listening to the sound of the ambient noise out in the hallway, and the wall clock just ticking louder and louder and louder. And I didn't like that, and I just made a promise to myself that I'm gonna take better care of myself, getting in better shape, all that stuff. So I almost said shit. I just said shit. And I just told myself, whatever I need to do to never be in this position again is what I'm gonna do. And I have been living by that. And then the next day, they're like, all right, we're gonna give you 1 more blood transfusion and then do a CT scan of your insides, make sure everything's okay, and then you can leave. I'm like, really? They're like, yeah. At this point, it was around hour 45 of not eating. I don't remember what time of day it was. And there was this brief window where they're like, yes, you can eat. And so I got a hospital burger, and even though it was like just like, you know, hospital food, and a lot of people were like, whatever, it tasted, may as well have been a 4-star meal, because I didn't eat anything in 2 days at this point. And then I started on, like, I had a container of veggies, and then they came in saying, all right, well, we scheduled this test for you for this time, and you have to have an empty stomach, so no more food. And they took my food away. They like took the food. I'm just like, we paid for that. And like, it wasn't even like finish your food and then you're done. It's just like, nope. And they just closed the container and took it away. And it's just like, oh, okay. So, and I didn't even get to eat my dessert, but at least I finished my burger. If they had taken that away, they'd get the hands bit. But they took that away, and they're like, here's one more blood transfusion. I'm like, oh, whatever. Give you my arm. And so I do that, and they finally gave me the CT scan. They scanned my guts, and then I was able to go home and just sleep in my own bed. And it was great. I have never appreciated sleeping in my own bed more. Never more than like any other convention. I came back from this just because these are conventions you can eat. These are conventions you're not having your temperature taken and your blood pressure taken and you know, your pulse taken once an hour so you can never sleep. So that was my experience. And I have more energy now than I have ever, I guess. It's been weird. I've been able to just like do all these simple tasks without getting out of breath, and that's it's cool. I just kind of thought everyone had to deal with that. Like, it got to that point where it just became the new normal, I guess is a better way of describing it. But now I have a shitload of energy, and I plan on putting that energy into videos, which is the roundabout message of what I'm trying to say. Actually, the roundabout message is take better care of yourself. And if you're a blood donor, then thank you, because you really help me out, especially if your blood type's O positive. If your blood type's O positive and you donate blood, then your blood may be flowing through my veins. It's my blood now. You're not getting it back. I'm using it, but I appreciate it. Thank you if you donate blood of any type. I appreciate that. You're fantastic, and thank you for listening to me, and that explains why I wasn't doing videos or streaming last week, but I'm back on it. Back on my bullshit. So expect more videos, expect more cool things. I learned to do some new effects that I may be putting towards potential animated projects, who knows. But thank you for listening to me. If you like this video, be sure to poke that like button right in the eye. Leave a comment below telling me what you think, and hit that subscribe button if you want to not miss a thing. Now that I'm freaking buzzing like a cell tower all the time. I have so much energy. I'm still recovering, but I will have more energy as time goes on. Just like in this whole video, where I didn't stop talking the whole time. But thank you so much. I love you all, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Hey everyone, don't forget to check me out on Twitch as well, at twitch.tv/MugAndPlay.